Welcome, one and all, to Pop Blender Unfiltered number 8. Number 8. Um, what's going on, y'all? Good to see you. I'm Pop Blender, back again on a postponed unfiltered stream from Friday night into Saturday. A little bit going on yesterday. I had another stream to participate in, not required by any means, but something I wanted to do, and it would have kind of overlapped, so to speak. So I decided to kind of postpone mine to tonight. Not really worried about it. And I see already Ronnie Trick Shot stopping by. How you doing, man? Good to see you, and I hope you can hang out for a little while. Got a lot of topics to go through. Got a special guest. I did post the link in the chat if anybody's interested in popping on for a little bit and going over some of these topics. I thought it might be fun if anybody feels like it. All I ask is you have a decent mic or headphones or whatever, and that you cut the YouTube stream off when you come on, because you'll get that weird delay thing going on, since the YouTube stream is about 15 seconds behind. But anyway. So throw that up there for anybody that feels like dropping by. I'm going to have War Chest full of toys here in a little bit, whenever he's ready. No rush. I told him to drop in whenever he wanted to. So, but we're going to go over some topics. In the meantime, just want to, I guess, check in, do the usual check-in, talk about the day for a minute. Today was a laid-back day, actually. I need to invest in a computer chair, to be quite honest with you, and they are damn expensive. But this chair that I've got ain't getting it done. This is a desk chair that's been in the family probably since the 80s, since the 70s, probably. I mean, it's probably been in the family for God knows how long. It was a desk chair that was my grandfather's at his workplace years ago. And so I've kind of inherited this thing, and it is wooden, and it is unwieldy and extremely heavy. And it's also extremely uncomfortable. Like many of you, you kind of make do, right? We make do with what we've got. And so I've been making do with this chair, but it's making do of me, because it is definitely throwing the hurt on. Usually when I get done with a stream, 2 hour, 3 hour, whatever it is, twice a week, 3 times a week, the next day, my body is a freaking wreck, an absolute wreck. And it's no different than today, because when I got up today, not only did I not sleep worth a damn, but I've been limping around all day long, trying to, took some Excedrin, been trying to somewhat get into it, but I have taken it extremely easy, other than grilling some burgers for dinner. I got my son over this weekend before school starts, and so it's about that time. I need to be getting ready for band season for him, and football season for halftime marching shows. I see Wraith Mace has stopped in. What's going on, buddy? Glad to see you here, sir. And yes, we are the Hammer, and we're going to hammer some stuff out tonight. Take the gloves off a little bit, if y'all are interested in taking the gloves off. If you saw the thumbnail for this stream, you'll understand here shortly. And yes, I do need to get one of the chairs you have, because I've seen the way you lay back in your chair, Wraith Mace, and it looks mighty comfortable. Every time I go shopping for one, it's it's kind of funny, because you look, of course you're going to pay for a good one. It's just so funny, because years ago, I remember, and I say years ago, I'm talking 20. 20 years ago, I remember going to shop for a computer chair. It's probably longer than that, actually, probably like 23 years or something. And I remember going to Staples and wherever else and searching for a chair. And, they were expensive back then, but they weren't $450 expensive, right? Like, I know inflation is a bitch, but come on. And so I go shopping for these chairs. I look them up online, and you can tell, like, you can see the ones are like $150, and it's like, oh, that, it kind of looks okay. And then you'll read the reviews on it, And you can tell for $150, you're going to get this thing. And in a few months, it's going to start to show its age and its value. And so, but it's funny because I went into an Electronic Express probably last year. And I've been by this Electronic Express through the years more than a few times. And they have this one chair that's been in this store for probably 5 or 6 years. And it's ripped on the side, it's beat up. It is it looks awful. And they have a price tag on it for 150, maybe 199 even. And it's like a Phase Clan chair or whatever. But it doesn't have any extra bells or whistles, right? This is a gaming chair. It was probably $400 when I first saw it. And so it has a price tag on it. It says like 199 or 150 or something like that. And so it's been sitting there forever. No one's going to buy this thing. They have a desk also. They have one of those desks. It's like a stand-up desk. You can raise it and lower it or whatever if you want to. And so that thing's been in there for years also. It's got scratches all over it. Part of the laminate top is peeling off on the corners. And they have that thing, and it's like, oh, clearance sale, and that thing's like $199 also. And so I tell the guys in there, I'm like, look, I'll make you a deal. I'll make you a deal on the chair and the desk. I'll buy them. You guys can't get rid of them. Obviously, they've been here for years, 5, 6 years. I'm like, I'll make you a deal on them. I'll give you, $200 between both of them because they're not even worth that. If you sold these in a garage sale, you would be lucky to get both of these pieces for $50. Like it'd be a stretch to pay $50 for both of these pieces. You'd probably get them for less, especially with cash money. So I'm like, hey, cash money, I'll get both these things out of here. 100, 150, something like that, 200 at the most. And they would not accept my offer. And I don't know if it's because they were just bound to that price tag, like they had to clear that with somebody that's in an office somewhere in Poughkeepsie or Des Moines. But yeah, they wouldn't budge. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll be back in 2 years, and this chair's still going to be sitting here, and this desk is still going to be standing here. That was a year ago. I was by there about 2 weeks ago. They're still there. But I'm not gonna spend that kind of money on a chair that's got, it's broken down. It leans to one side. It's got stuff peeling off of it. I'm not gonna do that. If they don't want my money, they're not gonna get it from anybody else. That's just a guarantee. So anyway, but yes, I do need a new chair. This chair is brutal, and when you're 48 years old, sitting in a chair like this for a couple hours, 3 hours, it actually does wreck your body, sadly enough. I wish that weren't the case. I wish I didn't have to say that, but such is life. But some of us have bigger things to worry about than a chair, that's for sure. I did want to say that Wraith Mace, I listened to your song. I know I sent you a message, and it's a banger. So any of y'all out there, if you want to hear a banger of a song that Wraith Mace made with the lyrics, and it's Warhammer 40K, it's pretty badass, and it is a metal song through and through. It is a double bass song, if you know what I mean. And I'm going to actually post the link here. So if anybody wants to check it out, I'm pretty sure he's got it up now at this point. So I'm going to copy the link, and I'm going to post it in the comments right now. So anybody that is listening to the show, if you want to scroll back, who knows how many comments we'll have? Who knows how many people we'll have drop by? I don't know. Don't really care, actually. I appreciate you guys being here. Anybody that's popping in to hang out for a little while and listen to me ramble on, I always appreciate it. And so I never really worry about how many people that is, just as long as there's somebody out there. And yeah, Wraith, it's actually pretty rocking, dude. And it took him like 35 hours to do this song. And And, you know, so here's the deal. I've never messed with AI when it comes to creating anything other than pictures. I have an AI program on my phone. I type in, I've used it for a couple thumbnails, I believe, some thumbnail pictures to share a stream upcoming or something like that. And it's not the best one out there by any means. It's one of those ones that gives you a ton of ads. You get to earn free coins that gives you more coins to spend on upgrading your AI creation if you want to. So it's totally like the baseline free app kind of thing. But it's really cool. I can only imagine what it's like, you know, paying money or what people who, you know, really do a lot of creative stuff with AI, with programs, you know, what they pay for those programs. But doing one for music as a drummer, I've never written music, so to speak. I've always played to someone else's creations. And so as a drummer and not having learned music and music theory, it it interests me to see because I've always in my mind, like I've messed around with different music tools and different type of software and created some little songs here or there, but not knowing how to really write verses and then choruses and bridges and solos and all that. A lot of times they just end up being like these really long grooves with a cool drum groove, and then, you know, I'll pick a key and put in like some kind of pre-created bass line or something. But I've never actually really messed around with one where you could really make something, like really truly make something. And so for 50 bucks, I mean, I guess, Wraith, my question is the software $50, and then you own that license basically forever or for a year or whatever? Or was it something where you had to kind of pay to add on different parts or, you know, level it up, so to speak? I guess is my question. Or if you just paid for the software, it's 50 bucks, you have the license and that's it, right? You can do whatever you want with it for as long as you want with it. I guess that's really my question. Um, and if that's the case, then 50 bucks, um, so it's the credits to make a 30-second cut. Okay. Because like the one picture thing I'm using, it's all about earning credits. So if you make an AI creation and then you post it, it'll give you a certain amount of coins. And then if you share that on another platform or something, it'll give you a certain amount of coins. Then it'll give you a login bonus every day. And what you do is you're able to earn up those credits, those coins, so that you can add more keywords or you can add more description to your AI creation. Um, I do think that I do think that it's going to be an interesting thing moving forward when it comes to the music industry, because I really do believe that people are going to be able to make their own playlist of their own music that they like, and they're going to be able to just put in keywords. Like, take your favorite artist, for instance. Let's say you're a Prince fan, like I am, and you say, okay, Prince vocal, melancholy song, key of whatever, uh, this type of drum beat, whatever it is, right? You put the keywords in, and then you create your own original song. Now it's borrowing from different genres, it's borrowing from different things, but it is original in a sense, right? And it's your creation, even though you may not be a musician at all. You may not be able to sing, you may not be able to play guitar, play drums, or anything like that. And I think that's really the next step in music, because, you know, the music industry is really watered down right now. And it's not like it used to be. I mean, you know, when you could turn on the radio and you would get introduced to new music, and it was exciting. You know, if you go back as old as some of us are, you would record those songs on your own little portable tape recorder. You know, I can remember recording songs off my sister's radio speakers in her car when it was a hot song that I wanted to get, you know. And so, but radio is not like that anymore. Music is not like that anymore. And because of that, I think that, yes, while music is easier to get to the masses now because you can just look up whatever you want, there's a lot of it out there and you can find it all. At the same token, I do believe that it's somewhat taken a bit of the specialness is not the right word out of the music industry, but because it's so accessible now, it's very wide ranging. And there's so many different genres. And so for radio, it's hard to be able to make a playlist off of that and have a station that is curated and you're breaking new artists. Do they still do it? Yes, they do. But years ago, if you sold, in your first week, if you sold um, 400,000 copies, that that was considered a decent success. Now, if you sell 40,000 copies, that's considered a success, right? And then we could get into the whole streaming talk too. We could get into streaming and how that's changed the music industry. But I do think AI is going to kind of revolutionize music, and I think we're going to have creations that people are not going to be able to tell that it's not a band. Wraith Mace, listening to your creation, um, you wouldn't know that that's not a band. Now there are people out there who can listen to stuff and they can tell, and those are people that have an ear for music and an ear for being able to hear and tell the difference between an AI vocal or a real vocal or the musicality. There's certain ways you can tell it. To most people at this point now, it's going to get harder and harder. In 6 months to a year, it's going to be almost, you can't discern the difference between a real artist and an AI artist. It's going to happen that quickly. Within a year, there will be songs coming out and you will not know whether or not that's a person on a guitar or that's a person like you and me sitting at a keyboard. And Yeah, Rafe, talking about, walking through it. And I'll talk to you about it maybe here in the next couple of days before the 15th, I believe is when you said you need to do what you need to do. Um, yeah, we kind of need to go over that, and just kind of check it out. You can give me the information. I'd be curious. I have been playing my drums a lot here at home. 3-star draw dropping by says, "What's up with this rowdy lot of vagabonds?" There's a few vagabonds in here, that's for sure. And there's going to be one more joining me here in just a little bit whenever he feels like it. I did post a link in the chat, so if anybody feels like jumping on, talking about some of these topics that I've got lined up, because once I get into them, we're going to rapid fire them. Uh, you know, um, get some opinions and kind of rapid fire some of it. And so once we get into that, we're going to go heavy and we're going to hit hard. But off the top, just wanted to kind of ease into it and see what you guys have been up to today. I know 3-star draw got a kingpin figure that he is very pleased with. Sent me some pictures. Looks super cool. And and that's the thing, man. Like for me, it's like I have to focus on the GI Joe stuff because there is a lot of stuff out there that I would like to get. I just don't have anywhere to put them, and I'd start to look like a hoarder. I mean, honestly, any more than I already do. If you could see this room, I'd start to look like a hoarder, and it would not be a good thing for anybody. Um, but getting back, talking about playing drums. So I have an electronic Simmons drum set here. It's about $800. It's not the best quality. They go up to like $5, $6, $7,000. But it's not the worst by any means. As a matter of fact, I've been extremely pleased with it. I bought my son one last Christmas for his room at his house, and he plays it all the time. And then when he comes over here, he plays mine all the time. But I've been playing my drums more since I bought this drum set last November than I've played in several years, many, many years, actually, probably 20 years. To the point where, like, I can tell when you're 19 years old, you're 20 years old, you're full of piss and vinegar, and you have so much energy. And if you're a musician, you play hard. If that's your style, you expend a lot of energy, but there's boundless energy because you're young, you're a kid. And when I go back and look at videos of myself playing back in the day, that's exactly how I played. Lots of energy, lots of theatrics, raising my sticks up in the air and making faces and standing up and crashing the cymbals and choking them and like all kinds of stuff like that, and now it's more reserved, but I'm still a really good player. And something I've been doing recently is playing through concerts, live concerts. And some of the best concerts that I've found are from the 80s because they used a full complement of musicians. They'd have horn sections and two keyboardists, and they'd have a touring drummer, and or if it was a band, then it was like really musically with harmonies and vocal, backup vocals and all the parts, and bands were really tight and really rehearsed for their tours and stuff. And so I've been playing a lot of concert tours lately, and there's one tour that I have been playing a lot of lately. And I think it's just because it's been a lot of fun to play the songs, but there's also a variety in those songs, and there's a variety of styles in some of those songs too. And you guys are going to kill me, but it's a Who's That Girl tour, Madonna from like 1987. And listening to this entire concert is like freaking incredible. Absolutely incredible. Because the musicianship of these touring musicians that she had on that tour are just absolutely amazing. And then the level of the choreography, the level of the production of the show itself is top notch. Like it doesn't it's hard to get um any higher than the production level on a tour like that. But I will sit there and play the entire concert. I'll knock the whole thing out, man. It's 2 hours, and I'll sit down for 2 hours and I'll play it from beginning to end. And I remember doing that when I was like 16 years old. I'd sit there and play an entire Elvis concert, like live Elvis stuff from the 70s, and I'd sit there and play the whole show for like, whatever it was. And it'd be all kinds of different tempos and different kinds of styles and medleys and whatever. And I remember doing that years ago, and I would practice, and I found myself doing that again. And if nothing more than just to appease myself and know that I can still sit down and rip some drums up. Ronnie Trickshot says, yeah, Mrs. Trickshot is sitting here with me. And when you started talking about being a hoarder, she's like, yeah, Ronnie, yeah. It's tough. It's tough. It's, especially if you're an in-box collector. Like I'm not, but all my stuff is in boxes for the most part. But yeah, if you are an inbox collector, I don't know how in the world people do it unless you've got a gigantic space. But then on top of that, if you are an collector who likes to take your stuff out, then do you keep the boxes? Do you throw the boxes away? I watched a video the other day. I think it was Woody, and Woody burns his boxes. Not a bad idea. If you're not you don't care about the artwork or the specialness of having that box it came in or whatever, right? Then burn away, baby. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if that's a solution, then have at it by all means. I just can't imagine being an out of box collector and keeping the boxes, because then you're double duty, right? Because your room is taken up with your figures and your vehicles or whatever it is. And then where do you put your boxes at? Right? Like eventually you're going to have a closet and it's going to be nothing but individual boxes. Yeah. 3-star draw. Yeah, and I know what that looks like at your house. That's for sure. Eventually, that closet is going to be full, and then what? Right? Like then I guess it's downstairs after that. You got some extra room down there. Gosh, because yeah, eventually you get to a point, right? Like there's the fulcrum, you know, the fulcrum kind of it's It's right on it, and eventually it's gonna go the other way, right? Like, the scale is gonna tip the other way, and like you said, yeah, they're falling out now, and then after that, then what? You know? I guess you could fold them down, like Wraith Mace says the Joy Toy Warhammer figures, those boxes fold down really nice. I guess that's one way to do it, right? But so much of this stuff comes in a plastic, container where the figure is put in there, and you gotta pop them out and all that kinda stuff, and so if you don't care about that part, then yeah, folding them up does, you could put them into comic long boxes, Wraith Mace, right, 1 comic box. Just grab a long box, buy one of those, and start putting your boxes in there. I mean, otherwise, I don't know. I don't know what that solution is. If you guys have some, and yeah, 3-star draw, likes keeping the trays, as well. That's tough, right? It's that collector mentality, right? It's like, what do you sacrifice? Can you sacrifice? Or do you sweat over that decision? I'm sure there's a lot of people who really do. That's the anal part, anal part of collecting. That's the hoarder part, of collecting, right? Is that, you have to make certain sacrifices, and if you don't, then you're just gonna end up with stuff everywhere. Yeah, exactly. Uh, wait a minute. So anyway, all right. So we got a few folks in here. I'm gonna kind of get rolling here on some of these topics. Um, and also too, I've been trying to figure out real quick this Stream Deck. Now I don't know if any of y'all use one of these. I've got one. It's nice for bringing up topics for on the fly to share a screen when you're doing a live stream. But I have a bunch of sound effects, and I can't tell whether they play through or not. So I'm going to hit one of them. You guys tell me whether or not you can hear this. All right. Okay. Then that lets me know everything I need to know. One more technical thing I need to figure out. Um, damn, isn't that something? So yeah. So basically it was supposed to be elevator music, but instead, maybe it sounds something like this. Yeah, silent disco, Ronnie, exactly. And you hear that? That's the Wii Shop music. All right. Anyway, so the elevator music, however, let's just turn that down. The elevator music I actually really liked, and it was something like this. Or if you prefer, nice. I should just leave that playing in the background. I like that. I got all kinds of stupid stuff on here. I got Price is Right sound effects. I've got all kinds of dumb shit. Yeah, it is. That is a banger. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hilton Lounge. I'm your host, Ronnie Jim Banger, and we're going to be performing a bunch of your favorite songs tonight. Make sure you tip your bartenders and waitresses, and leave a tip for your hotel staff. Oh, so stupid. Anyway, good stuff. All right, so I got to make sure I get some of those sounds down. Uh, Yeah, we can hear that. All right, good. That's all a part of like figuring this out when you're streaming all the time. And then what happens is then when you stream all the time and you don't have time to figure that stuff out, and then you just forget all about it for 4 months. Yeah, 3-star. You come back, film your videos, do whatever you need to do. Um, I'm gonna get into some of these topics. And then we'll kind of go from there. Let's see here. Come on, baby. Well, I guess we're just gonna have to bring it up on my own. Um, hopefully y'all are just hanging on a Saturday night like I am. I don't do a whole lot much anymore out running around, banging around town. You know, living here in Nashville, everybody comes to town to go to Broadway. That's what they love to do. Love to go hear the music. It's like, man, I've been down there so many times through the years, and about the only time I'll go down there is when somebody is actually maybe visiting, you know, and they've never been down there, so they kind of want to go at least see it, you know, see it in person. Um, so let's see if I can get this article up really quickly here. All right. I don't know if any of y'all really care. I know I don't really care what the I guess the Roman Catholic Church really has to say about anything. But so this was yesterday on Fox News. Now I don't really watch Fox News much. If you do, great. I don't care. Between the two main ones, I probably would. But the Olympic opening ceremony, how many of y'all actually saw it when it happened? I guess is my question. So for anybody, you know, anybody out there, if you saw it in real time, let me know. Number one, are any of y'all watching the Olympics? For one. And then number two, did anybody actually see the opening ceremony in real time? Because I did not. I caught this. There we go. There he is, the one and only war chest full of toys. What's up, buddy?
Nothing, man. What are you doing?
You know, just hanging out on a Saturday night. You know, pulling some stuff up here to talk about. And you made it just in time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I literally just walked in the door.
Well, and no rush by any means.
Oh,
You
no,
know,
you're
if
good.
you got anything to do, that's why I was like, hey, no worries. Legend series also dropping by. What's going on, buddy?
What's up, man?
So yeah, so you know, had a little opening monologue, just bullshitting monologue, if that's what you want to call it.
Gotcha.
But I just pulled up this story, and there's a couple of them. But I started out by saying, does anybody care really what the
The Cardinal has to say?
right, right, the Roman Catholic Church at this point? Are there people? Yes, there are. Are there people I know? No, they're not. Okay. But I was asking everybody if A, they've been watching the Olympics, and B, did they see the opening ceremony in real time? What about you? Did A, have you been watching the Olympics at all? And B, did you even know about this until like the next day?
Man, I haven't watched the Olympics since I was in high school, man. Like,
Right.
I got shit to do. You know, I don't know what that's all about. I did catch the replay and stuff, and although I didn't jump to conclusions when I watched it,
Okay.
but of course the imagery and stuff did look a lot like the Last Supper. There was some stuff to go along with that, but then also, I mean, I kind of waited to kind of see what was going on to kind of fill out what the artistic meaning is on and what they were trying to do or what they were trying to say. And I think just mentally for me, when I think about it, did they go out of their way to do it in order to invoke some type of response from everyone? Well, number one, that's what art is. It invokes a response, whether
Okay.
it affects me or you. if it's art and it moves you, or it makes you think in a different way, or it makes you have feelings or something like that, then that's kind of what I describe what is artistic and what isn't. So it's what may be artistic to me isn't to you or anyone else. So, I always keep that thought in my brain, and my family is a bunch of artists. So, I've always been kind of taught that way, that just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's not art to someone else. And, but with that being said, is there an underlying reason they did it to provoke thought? Is there a reason they did it because most people don't think that way, or they're limited on education, and those people watched it and they automatically just jump to conclusions and start firing shots? Absolutely. It's kind of like whenever you go to a Democratic or Republican rally and these guys are asking people out in the crowd. Well, they're showing you the dumbest people they interview.
Yeah, we've all seen those videos, right?
Yeah, it's the same shit.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, I you know what? I actually do like the art part of it, at least, from your thinking about that, because you are right. And a lot of people really probably don't even go there, right? Like if you think about it throughout history, that is true. That's been something, and there's, you could sit here and we could probably Google it because off the top of your head, whatever, but we could look it up. So many instances of things that for its time period were shocking, were blasphemous, were, whatever. And now they're some of the most revered things that have ever been done throughout history, right?
Yeah.
And so that I do like that take on it. It's not something I think I would have personally thought of myself, which is why, I appreciate hearing another opinion about that or bringing that up. It's something I was talking about at work the other day and kind of asking people about it. And somebody said, well, it's the Olympics, right? Like it's, you have the athletes there, you're celebrating maybe a country and a country's history and all that kind of stuff. And so their thing was, did it need to be there? And the artist that was creating the production had to have known what that was going to invoke, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that at the very least, regardless of how everybody feels about it, he would have to know. He would have to know what that was going to do.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, the explanation, I know that the artist came back and said it was supposed to be like Dinner of the Gods or whatever, right? And I'm trying to look here and see if I can even find the explanation. This is more about the cardinal, which again I don't really care because where that's going to go. Which I even have my own issues with trusting a lot of what the Roman Catholic Church said. About it,
about their history for a little
while. Because this quote right here, which says that it says the scene's choreographer Thomas Jolly has denied allegations he was mocking Christianity and was instead trying to show a big pagan party linked to the gods of Olympus. But I think a lot of us probably have an idea, and I think most people in the world have an idea of what those gods look like and what those traditional representations of those gods look like.
Absolutely.
And if you were going to do that, that would probably be much more appropriate.
Yeah.
On top of, I just don't know with the Olympics, with so many kids maybe watching, because I know, like you said, you haven't watched since high school. I haven't really watched since high school, but when I was a kid, I loved the Olympics. I absolutely adored the Olympics when I was 10, 11, 12 years old and 8 years old or whatever. And so when you got pretty much naked people painted blue, right? Yeah.
The first time I saw it, I was like, what is this? A trailer for season 4 of The Mandalorian?
Okay, right? So like, I just want to bring up images real quick and just bring up, like, if I could just get an image of this right.
At it again.
Yeah, right. Of this, of this right here. So hang on. I'm gonna share this image.
Don't let anybody buy you these blueberry things. They suck.
Okay.
I'm like,
so So this is what I mean, right? Like
Yeah.
all of these folks here, okay, fine, we get it. It's a hot button topic,
Yeah.
but I'm just not buying. I just can't, right? I just can't buy it.
Yeah.
And again, for a lot of people
It-
that have kids, they just don't think maybe this is the appropriate place to really put this on full display.
Yeah, I mean, and just like we're talking, like they did it to draw attention to the Olympics. It is a hot button, thing right now. And if it gave the Olympics more press or whatever, and gave them more spotlight in the media, then I mean, to be honest, think about it right now in the media. All they're talking about is Biden and Harris.
Yeah,
I mean, and
yeah,
Trump. They're just firing every shot they can, and they're sucking up all the media. And I mean, I guess I kind of get it.
yeah. I just don't know. Dionysus. Damn it. Good God.
Dionysus,
Could I
however you
say
wanna
that? Dionysus. That's right. Yeah, inspiration, wine, and pleasure. For me, as far as Paris and everything, I'd have to go back and really dig into that and make sure I understand how much that feeds into, France and everything. I don't know that
Yeah.
it really does. But I just think it's a weird way to open. I just think it's just such a strange way to open the Olympics. I did not see it real time. It blew the hell up. And
The only thing I saw like on the Olympics before I saw this movie, I saw like the flame when they brought the flame in, and they were gonna transfer the torch,
yes.
and I saw the drag queen. I was like, whoa, here we go. I was
Okay.
like, woo, here we go.
Yes,
it's gonna be awesome tonight.
And exactly. And
Yeah.
and when that happens, I mean, look, folks, here's the reality. Okay. The overwhelming majority of people out there are straight, right? Like it is what it is. But
I don't know, man. Around here, you throw a rock, you don't know what you're gonna hit.
well, look, no, don't get me wrong. Right? I think in recent times it's become more popular, let's say, to maybe change your pronouns and stuff like that. I still believe ultimately at the end of the day that most people's disposition and predisposition from birth, right, is straight, and most people they're just not down with it. Now, been to a drag show. I've been to a drag show. I've been to several drag shows. I've had a blast at drag shows, but I also know as an adult what drag shows are.
Yeah, there's an LBG or an Alphabet Squad bar across the street.
Yeah.
I live in a downtown area that's a giant college town, and literally just like one block up the street is Martha's Vineyard. And I've been in there many times. Those people know how to party. They're hilarious. They don't bother me. None of that stuff bothers me.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like I've been out many times myself.
The last couple of years of college, I actually lived with a gay guy and his boyfriend, and they were hilarious, man. They were great dudes. And I had the guest house, and it was awesome.
And that's what I mean. Like I think,
no that stuff.
Yeah, no, I think most people too at this point now they're pretty much kind of just whatever. When it probably more comes down to, hey, okay, I live my life, I do what I want to do, and you do what you want to do, and I don't need to know everything about it, right?
Yeah, what you do in your whatever, and I've never been a huge fan of PDA anyway, like keep that stuff to yourself. It doesn't bother me, you're just in general stuff, but don't get out of hand in public. Be respectful of other people,
Right.
But,
now, go ahead.
I would say this. And I don't know how it would really come off, I guess. Well, let me think about it. You go ahead and I'll think about how I want to word it.
Well, it'd probably come off like these people's clothes in this picture. Actually, that's probably exactly how it's going to come off. Wait.
I count fruit as clothing.
or body paint. I'm not sure which one. No. I was just gonna say Ronnie Trickshot. This is something to imagine if they parodied. Now, obviously, this wasn't a parody, but something Islamic. It would be, and actually, it may very well be. And then Legend Series says, "Who the hell was the genius that came up with the performance in the first place?" Even the person that came up with the performance. I just think the people that are putting everything together would have to understand how this is going to come across, right?
Yeah. So I guess the way I would word it is I don't have any problem with anyone's choices of what they do or anything like that. None of that stuff
Sure.
affects my day to day. But the minute the government or somebody starts telling me that I've got to pretend with them or anything like that, now we have a problem.
Okay.
So the other thing I would say is I've been put into a lot of situations, just in the entertainment areas of when I used to own whiskey bars and high-end restaurants and stuff, where you would have somebody that was part of the crowd that maybe would try and take their sexuality and make others feel uncomfortable, and that's not cool.
I've been in that situation.
Yeah, you're trying to provoke a reaction out of people by your behavior, and that's not cool.
And I think in today's age of social media and kind of me first mentality, especially through social media, I do believe, like, I think we've all probably seen those videos of someone who puts a fucking Sonic manager on the spot because they misgendered them when they delivered their fucking tater tots.
Yeah.
Or the person that's in a restaurant or a gas station or a GameStop knocking over displays of video games, looking like Hulk Hogan, but wanting to be called ma'am, like and we
got this guy here in town, and he is harmless and he's awesome, and he actually works for the college, and he's an old guy, man. He's like in his mid 70s. And this dude has got like these giant man hands, and he wears a blonde wig and rolls around, but everybody just loves him, and he's cool as hell.
I'm telling you, dude, I've had people throughout my life, whether that's an acquaintance or another server that worked at a restaurant that I worked at, whatever. I've had people that were super, super cool, because bottom line, it comes down to, who are you as a person?
Yeah.
Right. Are you cool or are you not cool? Are you fucking asshole or are you not?
You're
right?
An asshole. Yeah, exactly.
And that's where it comes down for me, is that's where those differences become. But then again, on full display, I just think there's a time and place. And I think, considering everything happening right now, I just this this quote from the person who came up with the designer, Thomas Jolly, that's the guy, or whoever, they came up with this thing. And the quote says that it said that the scene is an interpretation of the Greek god Dionysus, and that makes us aware of the absurdity of violence between human beings. I did not gather that particular reference, I guess, from it. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't get that either.
I just think that right now,
I didn't look at it as a mockery of Jesus Christ, but
I mean, rolling dude out on a silver platter, I guess, and it looks like one of those naked sushi things. Somebody's laying out naked, and they're a naked sushi model. People take sushi rolls off their body.
Rolled out from a progressive village.
Oh my god! Oh my god! They came from the Blue Oyster Bar right on a cart, just rolled them right into the Olympics.
Everyone's after my Smurf berries.
Oh my god. It's beautiful. Anyway, yeah, I just I was wondering if you had seen that. I didn't watch it in real time, and and actually and look, I know supposedly this is a record-breaking year for advertisers with the Olympics. I'm not sure how, because everybody I've asked if they're watching it, everybody said no.
No, yeah.
Like,
I haven't watched one thing. Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. And if you are, if some, hey, more power to you. I mean, if you really enjoy it, the only thing I'm waiting for is on August 9th and 10th is the break dancing, the breaking.
Oh, it's in the Olympics now.
Yes.
I'll check that out. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, break dancing is in the Olympics now, and I'm like, okay, like I'll be watching some breaking Electric Boogaloo.
All right, me and Turbo gonna hit it up with some popcorn.
Dude, Ozone and Turbo. How awesome would that be if they came out and they were like, the official representatives of the breaking part of the Olympics?
I was actually having this conversation the other day with a girl I know. We were talking about just breakdancing in general, and I was like, I'm not even gonna lie, like guilty pleasure. You know, I grew up in the late 70s and early 80s when I was, you know, like a young lad. And I used to be just completely mesmerized by that shit.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I could never do any of that shit. I'm just not coordinated. Like I couldn't play. But guilty pleasure, if it's a dance video, like, or a movie, and they're out there doing that, dude, I will be like, we're watching this. Like I am hooked. I love to watch it.
Dude, so I remember when my mom and my aunt took me and my cousin 3-Star to see Breaking at the movie theater.
Wow.
And you know, I had parachute pants and I had the studded bracelet and the studded belt, you know, and the fake knockoff Thriller jacket or Beat It jacket or whatever I had at the time. And the bandana and all that stuff, man. And I remember coming home and trying to find some cardboard and doing head spins and back spins and all that shit, dude. Like that, you know, for a time it was huge. But I'm with you. And actually, before you came on, I was mentioning that I'd been playing my drums a lot, and I have electronic kit here, and I've been playing them a lot, and I've been doing concerts, like full concerts. So I'll pick an artist, I'll go through the whole show, and I'll just play the whole show from beginning to end.
Nice.
And one of the concerts that I've been playing recently is the Who's That Girl tour from 1987. And it's a Madonna show, Madonna concert. And you talk about choreography, you talk about like dancing, dude, you know, that shit is unbelievable.
Yeah, it blows my mind what goes into those guys making those shows.
Like, I can't even. 2 hours straight.
Yeah, just unbelievable.
Yeah, but I actually get a lot of times, like I find myself, I'm watching my phone while I'm playing, and I'm watching, and I'm like, the amount of choreography that's involved in a live performance for 2 hours like that is just and speaking of which, that tour, the main dancer in the tour is the guy that played Ozone from Breaking. Nice. He's like the main dancer on that tour with her, and you see him, and it's like, oh shit. It's Ozone from Breaking. It's like 1987. That's the last thing that dude ever did.
Yeah. Crush Groove. Groove, all that stuff, man. It was cool.
Yeah, dude. So anyway, the opening of the Olympics, if anybody watched it, I don't know anybody that did, but I can understand people being pissed about it. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. Like I totally get it. But at the same time, is it worth getting that upset about? No. Now, I think it's almost par for the course in a way at this point. I did want to bring this up. I didn't know if you'd seen this. So, do you remember Gina Carano? Did you remember? Okay.
Oh, I remember her.
Yeah, right. No kidding. So I remember first and foremost when I came across her, she was in the first Deadpool movie.
Yeah.
And it was like, who is this chick? You know, like, and I don't know this character or whatever. So, you know, delved a little bit into it. But then she went to work on The Mandalorian. And if you remember that in this, I think it was like right after the second season, she was one of the more popular characters on the show.
Yeah.
And then this was right during the height of COVID, right during the height of the mask battles and everything going on. And she had liked a post, and I think maybe shared it. But basically the gist of her post was that in what the Yahtzees did back in the 30s with their citizens was what the American government was using its citizens for, which were they were tattletales. They were telling on their neighbors. They were turning their neighbors in, right? And that was what was happening in the United States during that time. And it was because I watched it firsthand with people. Now, I don't care what your mask, you know, preference and all that stuff. I don't give a shit at this point. Yeah. But yes, people felt emboldened. They were calling out their neighbors. They were calling the health department on restaurants. They were out of their way. And so
encouraged to do so.
And encouraged to do so, 100%. We kept seeing the rolling count of all the dead bodies at the bottom of the news screen, right? It's like a rolling ticker, like money coming off your credit card statement.
Yep.
And so she liked and shared a post. And also during that time frame,
you probably know Vistaprint for business cards.
Man, I hate.
But did you know we also print the
Horrible.
I hate that shit.
There's a program that'll wipe those all out.
Yeah, I actually have it, but it's really taxing on my. It's really taxing. It's called the Wayback Machine.
Yeah.
And it's really taxing. I tried to use it the other day, and it crunched my CPU like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
So I'll try to make sure I catch this pop up. But anyway, so not only did she share that post, which a lot of people and Disney were not happy about, but she was encouraged to put pronouns in her Twitter bio.
Yeah.
And she did not want to do that. But what she did do on her Twitter bio is she put beep, bop, boop. Okay. That's what she put. And so she got fired from Disney. She got taken off the show. She got fired. She got warned a few times about her behavior on social media. And one of the things she described was Disney wanted her to do a 40-person struggle session Zoom call with LGBTQ people as to why she didn't put pronouns on her Twitter bio. Yeah. So it would have been her and 40 alphabet people on one call, and they wanted her to go through that. And obviously no one would
be badgered by 40 people.
100%, right? Because and she even said, look, I'll go out to dinner. She said, I'll be glad to go out to dinner with each and every one of those people, one-on-one. And they can get to know me. They can get to know who I am as a person.
That's ridiculous.
And so Disney was pissed that she refused to go on this struggle session call.
I mean, but who would do that? You know what? This sounds like a great idea. So 40 people can impose their will upon me. This sounds like a great idea.
Yes. So that was one straw. The last straw was her sharing the post about what the Yahtzees had done in the 30s and compared it to what was going on in America in 2020. Yeah. Well, Disney let her go, and then they put out a post with it that said that she was it was anti-Semitic thoughts that she had. Her post was anti-Semitic. It denigrated Jews from the 30s and 40s. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But yet, Pedro Pascal, her co-star,
everyone knows the Holocaust never happened.
Oh yeah. That's a TikTok world, isn't it? So her co-star though, Pedro Pascal, he during that same period of time, okay, during the election cycle that year, had posted that half of the country, he put a Confederate flag beside Trump voters.
Yeah.
And then he put an American flag beside like the Biden voters. And he compared 50% of the country to basically Confederates from the 1850s and 60s. And nothing happened to him. Okay, nothing. Disney had no comment, no nothing. So she got fired from her show.
If it matches their narrative?
Absolutely. No. And you know I've gone over that plenty of times. Well, so about a year ago, Elon Musk tweeted, because he bought Twitter, which is X, he tweeted, anyone that got let go from their job, I think during COVID or for reasons that, you know, for reasons that they shouldn't have been fired for COVID restrictions or something like that, I will fund your lawsuit. And Gina responded to him, and he is funding her lawsuit against Disney. And we're going to get to go to Discovery because just recently they shot down Disney's effort to have it thrown out. Yeah. So we're going to get to go to Discovery. And so we're going to get to see emails between Disney bigwigs. We're going to get to see all kinds of stuff. The judge overseeing the case, you know, they have a list of witnesses that everybody's, you know, wanting to call regarding the complaint. And when you look at these witnesses, man, we're talking about the who's who. We're talking about Jon Favreau, Pedro Pascal, Kathleen Kennedy, Bob Chapek, Lucasfilm publicist Lynn Hale, the United Talent Agency, who dropped Carano after she got fired.
Yeah, they did. They dropped her.
And survival television host Bear Grylls, who hosted her on his show, on a National Geographic show, which also got pulled by Disney after Carano was fired because he hosted her on his show. And so we're going to get to see, now these are possible witnesses. Discovery is one of those great things that companies don't like to have, right?
Oh, no, they do not.
Because you really get to see documents, emails, any letters, okay? And if you go through this list here, man, like communications amongst employees at Disney, contractors, related entities related to her social media posts,
Yeah.
contracts, Disney with their her former talent agency, publicist, manager, any of the movie show producers, any documents, because she had a show. She had a show she was
Yeah.
going to be the star of.
Yeah.
That was the leading role mainly in it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. That one that was coming out.
yeah, the Rangers of the New Republic. So, I mean, dude, like, this is going to get really freaking juicy.
Yeah.
And it says here, it's probably going to turn into a PR nightmare for Disney, and it probably will, because a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about when it comes to all the agenda and the secret gay agenda that Disney has, grooming kids that a lot
They've
of
been
people,
popped so many times for so much shit.
right?
It's unbelievable.
And I can't wait. Like, I cannot wait. I want to cover this as it comes out, because we're gonna get so many quotes from emails and from Kathleen Kennedy herself, who has been somehow untouchable after running the Star Wars brand into the ground.
Man, I don't want to get started on a Star Wars rant tonight.
Oh yeah, no, I
just lose my mind for it. I mean, sit around all night and fucking pop.
I know, right, dude? But in the old days of Hollywood, this is the worst head of a department or head of film or whatever you want to call it in the history of Hollywood.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's mind-blowing to me too, just to see like everything that she's done systematically since George Lucas sold Star Wars. And it's almost like, because she was, like a producer or production assistant or whatever, I can't remember what it was, back when Lucas and his wife were, doing Star Wars and then all into Spielberg. It's like she feels like she's entitled to credit for all of their successes or something.
Right.
And like, she could have done it better. And now she like took that opportunity to be like, watch this. And she's just failed completely.
It's miserably. I can't wait to see this stuff, because I think it's going to be fascinating.
It'll be pretty eye-opening. Yeah.
And for a lot of the people who have been, following and looking at a lot of that stuff, I definitely think some of your bigger pop culture, critics, people in the YouTube sphere, are definitely going to have a field day with this and probably make a lot of money off of it. Just for the simple fact that, that's what drives their channels. But, people tune in for this stuff. I mean, they're, every day at trial, especially, you're going to have something new. Right.
Like, Mike Zero already knows, man. He's
man. That guy's yeah, Mike Zero. Mike Zero, dude, that guy, he's going to have it that Bob Chapek and Kathleen Kennedy were having a torrid affair without any information.
Yeah, that guy's always got something going on. It cracks me up.
Yeah,
I actually have not watched his channel in years. But
oh yeah,
I hear Punk like go off about him every now and then. I laugh because I get it. I'm like, yeah, that guy's something else.
It is. I mean, that's somebody. And I remember somebody was counting them up. It was like in 1 month, he had like 75 videos with the name Kathleen Kennedy in it.
I bet.
Twice a day.
She's a hot topic, I guess. If it brings viewers.
She was at this point, I don't know how hot of a topic that I mean, she will be again. I think people are apathetic towards Star Wars at this point.
Yeah.
I think that they just are now to where it's gotten so bad that a new show coming out, it gets no interest. Space Witches was bad.
I was joking around the other night with my brother. We were talking about the Book of Boba Fett, and that one scene where the kid, the guy spins around and does that full circle.
Oh my god!
I was like back when the Chappelle show was on, they used to have the guy doing the robot all the time. In like every episode, he would be in some skit. I go, they need to work that guy spinning around in every Disney Star Wars production.
Oh,
Just have them somewhere in the background. I'd laugh. We were just killing each other laughing about it.
okay.
I'll shut up now.
No. Don't shut up, because here we go. Here we go.
Oh, you got it queued up.
Yeah, here we go, y'all. Look at it. Look at that. Hang on. Let's bring it back again. Watch this.
Just for no reason.
Yeah.
When that happened, I was laughing so hard.
One more
I
time.
about fell out of my chair.
I mean, what the hell?
My favorite part is when they all come flying up on their bikes right in the middle of the crossfire. And then they run behind the dumpster. I'm like, well, these guys are idiots.
Yeah. It's just, it's like, and that was one of so many. Oh, this is great. Look at him.
Oh, it shows him spinning around.
Blows up everything.
Yeah.
Spin around, blow up the Death Star, spin around. I mean, dude. One more time.
That's just epically hilarious. No, when that happened, though, we laughed so hard. We rewound it. We just kept watching it over and over again. We just laughed
dude.
so
Put that on a loop, man. Yeah, that was one of just many just brutal things of that show. And that was just that show. What about Obi-Wan and Leia, and they're like standing there at that laser gate, and instead of just walking around it.
Just some of the dumbest shit you've ever seen.
He's just gonna walk around it. It's like, good God.
Or in the Vader show when he knocked Obi-Wan out and he couldn't pick him up and pull him over to him, but then like 2 episodes he's picking that Reva girl up and toss her around.
Oh God, yes. Or how about, here's one of my favorites right here. Oh God. I mean, there's too many. Disney Star Wars, ladies and gentlemen.
Flea.
Oh my God, Flea chasing a young girl in diapers.
Yeah.
A 10-year-old with diapers. And somehow she's able to evade
outmaneuver all these guys.
3 adults. Wait, what? What just happened?
She's crafty.
What just happened? They just stand there and they just let her get like a 20-yard head start. Look how these people are running, by the way.
Or whenever the Book of Boba Fett, whenever he hires those Mandalorian guards to be his personal.
Oh God.
And then like 2 minutes after they say that, they're out in the middle of the street. The Gamorrean guards are not to be found. And they get attacked. I'm like, one job, guys. One job.
Yeah, one job. Look how pitiful.
Yeah, just dumb. Just dumb.
Stumbling, bumbling, falling. You know, it's where did she go? Come on. Like, you couldn't have, whatever forest they used to set this up in, you know, they couldn't have done it any more poorly.
It's almost like they showed up with the skeleton crew and said, all right, guys, no prep time. Let's figure this out.
Yeah.
We've got 2 hours till sundown. Let's shoot this.
All right. Throw 2 logs over here. All right. Throw 4 logs over there. And then you hold this branch down. And that way, when you come running, you have to go around the tree because you can't duck under the branch. And you 2 can't walk over the logs. You got to go the long way around. And then the poor girl, I mean, look, you know, she is whatever age she is, but it's like, you know, she looks like she's running with a full load. I mean,
it does. It looks like she got a big full diaper.
Yeah, dude. Can't even. But nonetheless, so this lawsuit, I can't wait to see what happens. I love the fact that Elon Musk is also funding it, because at this point it's an endless flow of money to pursue
I love the way Elon's just trolling everybody too.
Oh man, I mean, yes. Like he's murdering it, dude, like all the time with these people. And it's funny because, you know, there was a time when Elon was like their savior, so to speak, right? Like he was very big in that, you know, from a leftist point of view or whatever you want to call it. And now it's like that shoe has flipped.
Yeah, he woke
completely
up over.
And you see that, man, like it happens. I just don't know with this election cycle coming up. You know, you sent me a couple messages. We talked a bit about it on the phone. You know, it's a really weird place that we live in, where somehow the first person that was out in the primaries 4 years ago that couldn't talk her way out of a paper sack
Nothing.
somehow is the nominee 4 years
Yeah.
later after doing absolutely nothing in office for
Yeah.
4 years either.
You know, in just full disclosure, I don't care who knows what, but
Yeah.
I was a Democrat pretty much my entire life up until the second term for Obama. And then I voted against him for a second term. And then coming back on the backside of that, when Clinton was going to be in office, just all the crap that surrounds the Clinton family, I was like, I guess we're going to give Trump a chance, you know, and I voted for him. And what's going on now to me is just insanity, because it just seems like people are just believing the media about each one of the candidates. Am I happy with both of the candidates? No, I wish there were other options. Absolutely.
I agree.
But when I look at, for me personally, when I look at everything that Kamala and everything that's gone down with her, like you said, she didn't even last to the primaries. She was the most rated or under approved person, period. All the things that she's done, even with her attorney general career, and approving all these medical benefits for transgenders in that are voluntary surgeries, and the taxpayers are paying for them. And we don't even have to get into all of that stuff,
right?
But just in the simple fact that for the last several years, she knew that Biden was deteriorating and she backed it. You know, like I'm sorry, but your friendship with your president or whatever, it doesn't trump. It literally doesn't, no pun intended, trump what's best for the American people in our country. Right. And I look at that kind of stuff and I'm just like, how can anyone sit here and go, yeah, man, Kamala? And I'm like, what are you saying? But then it's not like Trump doesn't have his own issues as well. You know, we can go down through those, but it just seems, just to sit back and look at the situation in general, you see everything that they've gone after Trump for nonstop. It's like they won't quit trying to beat him with sticks. That dude's a pinata.
Yeah,
and
it's
they
crazy.
just keep coming after him. And then for anyone to think that Kamala is fit to run the country is just insanity to me. Yeah, I just they need to put and everyone says, well, the DNC put. I'm like, no. There was no primaries. There was no. They literally. I mean, your President Biden or ours. I mean, I'm not going to say he's not mine because he is. He gets up on there and he gives an entire speech about democracy. Yet they overstep democracy.
Yep, completely circumvented democracy.
That's insanity. I'm like, did you not just see what happened there? And it just, I don't understand how everyone just thinks that that's acceptable. That's cool. You literally just said it's cool that the government decides for me.
Well,
I was just like, wow.
And you said it though, like, circumventing democracy to preserve democracy. And I've said for the last few years, and I've said it for both sides, but one in particular is that, it's flaunted in the people's faces now.
It is
just how low or how bold the things that they will do, knowing at this point that nothing's going to happen to them. Nothing's going to happen. And it's flaunted in the American people's faces. And I think, yes, with the way information is disseminated now, the way with the media and social media, the way these things are disseminated, it's scary because I guess people, even though they have more information at their fingertips than they've ever had before, are dumber than they've ever been before.
We talked about that the other day, man, about how the generations that will come after us, half of them don't even understand how our government works.
They have no idea. I was at the bar the other day and I had a guy that I've known for probably about 11 years or so and used to work with him. And he's probably almost 40 years old. Yeah. And he was at the bar the other day and another regular started talking about kind of what we're talking about here. And then the other guy, Andrew, mentioned, something about Kamala and how he feels how ignorant she is, right? It's his opinion. And this other guy was like, well, I don't really care about that. And I asked him, I said, well, do do you know any of the policy? Do you know anything about what she's running on? Do you know anything about how she feels about anything? And he literally said, it doesn't matter. And that shows me the level of like desire from, and this is someone who's almost 40 years old. I get it if you're a kid, man. Like, you're 21 years old, you're out, chasing pussy and you're fucking hanging out doing your thing, running around. Okay. And you don't care. But, and I get you could be 40 years old and not care. At the same time, you can't just say it doesn't really matter what this person thinks about it. I'm just going to vote for them just because what? You were told to do it? Or
Yeah.
you think it's the in thing to do, or you just can't think for yourself, and therefore whatever headline you read on Twitter that day was the one you're going to go with. Like, I don't know. It shocks me the level of disinterest from a lot of people, and also the level of just not caring to investigate for themselves. I mean, I don't want to get it, off onto that tangent. It really does. It shocks me sometimes when I have conversations with people, and
and people don't even know, man. And you just get back to it. It's like, in fact, you could ask somebody. You could probably walk out on the street, and out of the 5 people you ask, so what do you think about Kamala Harris running for president? They don't even know that Joe Biden stepped down. Like they don't even know. It's
right.
It's kind of shocking.
Yes.
To see. But then, you got to think about, is it because they're just uneducated, they don't care, they're in that age group where they don't really recognize that kind of thing, or they don't even think on that level yet? Or is it the simple fact they don't even think their vote counts?
Well, I think a lot of people fall into that category.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people feel, and we've kind of somewhat been shown that it almost doesn't. And a lot of people feel that way. They're just as apathetic towards the government, whether that's at a local level or a federal level, as they are about Star Wars, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and people are crazy too. They're just so wound up in it, which I don't get overly wound up in it. I don't even get upset about Republican versus Democrat. I get wound up about people's stupidity about it in general. That's what I get. I'm like, how can you say that? Do you not know what you just came out of your mouth, man? Like,
right.
That's the kind of stuff that bugs me. I mean, even at my restaurant, we had a bunch. Trump came here literally across the street from one of my restaurants, and I bought a bunch of tickets to it. And I just told everyone, I said, hey, regardless of who you are for Biden or you're for Trump, I said, I've got all these tickets to go over to the rally today. Go over and support your candidate, whatever it may be. And I got so much shit over it. And I'm like, I didn't say I was Republican or Democrat. And at that point, I didn't know which way I was going to vote. But people pummeled the shit out of me over just offering to give everybody free tickets to go.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, and this also kind of falls into the pop culture realm because, you've seen where people draw a line. If you criticize this Acolyte show, then you are a racist because it has a black lead in it, or it's got lesbian space witches. That means that you're homophobic, or you're, something, right? Like, or you're a Trump voter because you don't like this show. Like, that's where our entertainment has been drawn. Lines have been drawn as well.
It's like, well, why can't you just dislike the show? Because the writing's poor, the actors are really not that good. You've totally disrupted lore. You not only have you disrupted lore, you've literally gone in and made half of what came through the entire Anakin Skywalker, the prophecy and all that. You just derailed it all.
Right.
It's just like, we didn't dislike the show because everybody was in it. Because I'm not going to lie, some of that lightsaber, shit with the Sith guy was badass.
Yeah, some of it was good.
There was some great little points in there, but 80% of it was just trash for me. I mean,
yes. And most people watching it were judging it on a dialogue aspect, a plot aspect. Now, were there some agendas at play? Yeah, and the showrunner admitted as much and continues to admit as much in interviews after the fact.
When you're sitting there in the interview and you're saying C-3PO and R2-D2 are gay lovers and all this other shit, I'm like, dude, you literally just you took your show and you just shoved it into a category.
Right. Yeah.
You did that.
without probably either A, realizing it, like knowing that you're doing that,
Yeah.
or B, just not understanding the everything, right? Like, and I think it's more of knowingly, because you know that it's going to get a certain amount of people and a certain
Yeah.
rise out of people.
Oh yeah.
And
It, go ahead.
that's, well, I was just going to say, and that's where like a company like Disney would use the parrot analytics and tell you that it's a success because so many people are talking about this show, when in actuality people are talking shit
Yeah.
about the show.
The show scored so low that the Nelson rating pulled it off. I mean, that's how bad it was.
Right.
And you got the amount of the millions per episode. If I was a director, even if I was offered a Star Wars show, it's like, man, I'd really love to have a Star Wars project under my belt. That makes me look good. Maybe we shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm an assistant, if like I'm an assistant director or any of that stuff, or I'm working on the crew, I'm like, yeah, let's make some Star Wars. I don't care, man. Job's a job. But if I was an actor too, I would just be like, I'm gonna stay away from that franchise.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, I could totally see that. Speaking of actors in Star Wars, Bobby Wold stops by too. What's up, Bobby? Because I know why Mark Hamill likes her, and he's talking about Kamala. She laughs like
Bobby
she's been hit with some Joker gas anytime they ask her a question. Yeah, that is one comment you will hear very, very often in reference to Kamala. That's for sure.
And when it comes down to celebrities endorsing politicians and stuff, I don't understand that. I think probably one of my favorite responses was from Kurt Russell, and they asked him about all of it, and he was just like, yeah, I don't really feel like I should be flexing my opinion and stuff like that. He goes, I don't live in the real world. I'm a movie star.
Yeah, no,
he's
100%.
Yeah, and he's like, not my place.
And if you were a Mark Hamill fan for years, all you need to do is look at the stuff he's posted on X or Twitter over the last several years, and you will probably have a different opinion of him. He is completely fallen off the rails.
I don't know, man. I can't, from both sides. I can see the arguments from both sides.
See you, Ronnie. Thanks, buddy.
There's just so much of it that's just, it's so wrapped up in so much bullshit. It's like, and I get the people that just can completely sidestep democracy though, and like turn a blind eye. At least if your candidate is doing some jacked up shit and you know it, just admit it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, don't sit there and act like it didn't happen, because obviously there's some truth to it, or you can't say that Trump got convicted on a bunch of stuff and not admit that some of it's probably a little bit true. Some of those things are, and then others maybe probably aren't. But admit the fact that he hit it. You can't. That's like them going, well, Kamala didn't know that Joe was in bad health and that he was gonna. Yeah, you did. Yeah, she did. She did.
Well, you couldn't spend every day or every week with somebody and not know at this point. I mean,
not at all.
I think it's interesting though, is that and this, I guess this is kind of my final thought on it, at least from the political part of it, is that going back and looking at what happened with Richard Nixon, seems like child's play. Compared to what we're talking about these days,
and how the media is so bought and paid for,
right?
And if you can't see that, it doesn't even matter what. If you can't see how hardcore the media is bought and paid for, you are crazy.
Yes. Speaking of something that has been bought and paid for multiple times, that's tickets for Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, I thought you were talking about my ex-girlfriend.
So real quick, I wanted to bring this up because I had 700. It's going to easily top $1 billion. It's going to be the highest probably ranking R-rated movie ever.
Yeah, it's great.
It's going to hit several different tiers. But and I remember before it came out, I was talking to Matthew on our stream on Tuesday night, and we're kind of predicting, is this going to hit a billion? I think maybe even me and 3-Star talked about it a little bit too. And the reason I thought it was going to, and you and I chatted a little bit about this message back and forth, but And even Matthew, I just thought that people are starved. Just people are starved for something
They
that's
are.
funny, that is irreverent, that it is making fun of shit that they know needs to be made fun of.
Oh yeah, for
and
sure.
they're eating it up. People are eating this movie up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I thought it would do about 800, but it's going to pass that up. Plus, I guess they're re-releasing it in Christmas with even more cameos that weren't in this.
Yes. So right, there's going to be a director's cut released near Christmas, and that's going to bring in more revenue again. It kind of reminds me of how you'd see it with different movies that would kind of re-release. Now they used to do this years ago because even a movie like Star Wars that may be in the box office for 6 months, but then like several months later they bring it back and put Empire Strikes Back again for a couple months, right? It's a limited run and just add to those totals. Yeah, no, I mean, this is, right now, I mean, what all-time domestic box office for R-rated movie, it ranks 7th. That's domestic numbers. Now, this isn't the total. If we went back to just full financials, they may not have them all yet, but nonetheless, even the international, if you look at the box office top 10 territories, look at China, Mexico, the UK,
Ryan and Hugh ran an insane campaign.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
They've been on everything.
Yeah, and just country to country. I mean, opening weekend, China 24 million, Australia 11, Mexico 19, United Kingdom 22. I mean that's huge, man, for a movie that. Number one, not everybody can go see, right? It's an R-rated movie, so it's not one of those ones that everybody is going to be able to go to. Although I did see a lot of kids milling about the theater when we went.
No.
I did take my son, and he is 16, but I saw a lot of kids by themselves without parents. I mean,
oh wow,
it was
I've seen it twice. The first day I went to go see it, I went to the early show, and it was packed with old people, surprisingly.
Okay.
Of old people. And I was like, wow. And people just cracking up. I'm talking about people like in their 60s, 70s, and they were just dying laughing.
So, just to run down a few of these topics, like 6th biggest domestic opening of all time of any film already.
Wow.
4th biggest Hollywood superhero opening behind Endgame, No Way Home, and Avengers Infinity War. Biggest R-rated opening, both domestic and globally. Look at how much past Deadpool, 211 million, almost 100 more. Biggest July opening of all time domestically, past The Lion King and Harry Potter and Barbie and Dark Knight Rises. Let's see, miscellaneous records broken. I mean, who cares about these? Domestically, past Dune Part 2. Okay, whatever. It passed Hugh Jackman's standalone Logan movie, which grossed $619 million in 2017. It's already passed that. Yeah, man, like this movie, look, I thought it'd make $1 billion. I didn't realize just how big it would be in the first week. I mean, just how crazy big this first week would be, and it's got legs. People are going back to see it again, right, to see all the Easter eggs and all the stuff they missed.
Absolutely.
It's one of those kinds of movies, right?
And I mean, we've already talked. I mean, it was highly entertaining.
Oh my god,
it was fun. It really was a great dose of being able to laugh and just enjoy those two having an adventure together. And the main story really didn't even have to be that big. It really could just be that simple, and they just carried the whole movie between the two.
And it really was. I mean, the plot was not my favorite thing, right?
No.
Like it was not my favorite thing about it.
Yeah, and you didn't like Loki, remember?
I did not like Loki.
No, you didn't much like Loki.
And I watched both seasons of it. I watched every episode of both seasons. I was not a fan. There's a lot of things in the show. I thought the premise could have been fun, but I had a lot of issues with Jonathan Majors acting.
The thing I didn't like about Loki and I didn't like him as Kang either. I didn't like the way they literally stripped him down completely of being Loki and turned him into something else. That's the only thing I didn't like about the show. It's like they de-Loki'd Loki.
Yes, they turned him into a passenger in his own show, and then they made it about Sylvie. And then the second season, honestly, if you actually go back and watch it, I would tell you, go back and watch it. Barely anything actually happens in the over the course of those episodes. Hardly anything really actually happens. It's just a couple different sets, and what they actually do, they stretched out over the course of several episodes.
Yeah.
To be able to get as many episodes out of
Drug it out.
But yeah, the Jonathan Majors, especially season 2, when he plays the really super autistic one, Kang or whatever, from the 30s or wherever the he's from. I thought that was so goofy. Ronnie Trickshot said, I keep hearing rumors that the Deadpool Wolverine movie Kevin Feige had the least to do with and constantly wanted to stop it from happening. See, I actually heard the opposite. I heard that he had very many stipulations, including the costume for Wolverine had to be in the movie. That was something he fought for.
No, I did hear that. Yeah.
There were several things. I actually heard the opposite of him being very much in favor. And I'll tell you, the reason I think so is because I think that they're like a giant aircraft carrier as a company.
Yeah.
You can't just stop the ship and turn directions, right?
No.
But they realized that phase 4 was so bad and people were so disinterested in it that they are changing course. Now, they still had movies that were in production. They still have things that were being made that are shot. They're done. They're going to come out, and they're going to be bad, like Agatha All Along. And
that sucks for that actress too, because that would be like her real big breakaway kind of thing to have her own show.
Right. But it got delayed, and and then they had some other characters that they were going to do an Ironheart show that got pretty much scrapped, I believe. The Blade thing scrapped, but nonetheless, so there's some things that are going to come out that are not going to be good.
How Black Panther even got made to this day is surprising to me.
Yeah, I mean, look, and Black Panther 2 was, not a good movie.
No, that's what I meant. Black Panther.
Oh yeah.
The first one was fine.
Yeah.
Why
they even
I was
made
just like,
nope, and shouldn't have been done. But nonetheless, there are some things in the pipeline that are going to come out that aren't going to be good. But I think Kevin Feige actually at this point realizes, we need to do something different, and that's where you have the Hail Mary with Robert Downey, and they're going to try to bring back some of that. They're bringing back actual directors instead of people who have no business directing superhero movies.
The Russo brothers back,
right?
That's going to cost a penny.
That'll
breathe excitement back into it. People will be just all about watching it now.
So I think I had heard Feige actually did fight for some of the things that actually got that Deadpool movie made, but it still doesn't mean that he isn't partially responsible for the downfall in the last few years of the MCU. So I was going to bring a couple other stories up here. I don't know if you saw this one, but I just wanted to bring this one up real quick. Just in the last couple days, Aerosmith, in the middle of a tour, just quit. They're done. They're in the middle of a tour right now, and they are no longer ever going to tour. They are done. It says Steven Tyler's recovery from vocal injury is not possible.
Wow.
He's like 76 years old.
Yeah, he's pushing 80, yeah.
And it's fascinating because when you think about all these bands that are out on tour and you think about the biggest tours, it's always these bands from like the 70s.
It's like the money's running out or something, or I don't know, man. When I can't even make a speculation.
And to me, really, the only way they can make money, because streaming doesn't pay shit. The only way these guys can really make money is by going out on the road.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of tied to it. But yeah, they actually had been on this kind of farewell tour, and then it just all of a sudden it's like, hey, sorry, like we gotta shut it down. It says the group have been active on the live front leading up to this goodbye tour. And then I guess Steven Tyler vocally, like he just can't go again. And that's again where it brings me back to the fact of, at 76 years old, I can't even imagine. Look at my mom. And I think what it would be like for my mom to be on stage night after night, like singing.
Where my restaurant was here in downtown Springfield, behind the huge arena, and they would bring artists over all the time through the mid part of the day. They'd give me a call and say, "Hey, we're bringing everybody over to eat." And they come in and eat because it'd be really slow because I'm on campus, and we would have a lot of stars come flying through there all the time. And Billy Gibbons came through a couple of different times, and that old dude just rolls in without security or anything. He walks around town like normal, like he belongs there.
Right.
We were talking a little bit about that, and I was like, man, I said, you guys are getting old to be, still doing tour and stuff like that. And he just straight up, and he goes, man, the fans are the only thing keep me going.
Yeah.
And he was just straight up about it.
I could fully believe that. I want to say hey to Shane, Same Time Toys. What's going on, buddy? Yeah. And real quick, to highlight a couple of things about that Black Panther thing. I agree, Black Panther 2, Wakanda, whatever. It really, you're right. It didn't have any story. They brought us Namor.
Yeah.
Namor instead of Namor. Or Namor.
Which I thought he looked really cool. I thought he visually looked cool.
Definitely didn't have a swimmer's body.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. but like even when he flew around on his wings, I thought it looked really like the big sharp, like a hummingbird. I thought that was cool.
Yeah,
because I always imagined it to be like that.
Yeah.
So like to me, I thought that there were so many things in the story that didn't make a whole lot of sense. But like whenever they took that giant ship out into the water to fight the Atlanteans, I was just like, they're stronger in the water, so why are we going out to the water? It was almost like Jaws. Why are we going out further from the beach? Well, what are we doing here, guys?
Right. Yeah. We're creating tension when there really needs right. And Shane says Aerosmith will tour again as soon as they run out of money.
Yeah, no doubt, right?
I have a feeling that those guys I would like to think will probably be dead before they run out of money at this point.
Yeah, no doubt. Right?
Have to be one of the most successful bands, but it's not unheard of. That's for sure. Definitely. And then Bobby says, yeah, Chadwick Boseman, I think, love the character so much. He would rather them continue that character with a new person. I agree. They should have recast it.
Yeah. He said Black Panther was bigger than him and it meant to more to people than,
yes. But yeah, so this Aerosmith story, though, nonetheless, they kind of put out a statement, said, look, Steven's voice is an instrument like no other. He spent months working on getting his voice to where it was before injury. We've seen him struggling despite having the best medical team, which I have no doubt about that. I would imagine, and this is the part where a lot of people don't see this, okay?
Yeah.
I would imagine that not only to prepare for singing a show each night, you can't speak all day long. You can't speak a word. You have like different essential oils and like humidifiers and all kinds of stuff, and you have breathing apparatus, and you're doing this routine every day. And then after you go out and sing, you come back in, and as soon as you're done, you go right back into that routine. You have people that are probably giving you taking all kinds of stuff, whatever it is. So the ability to try to plow through that, it's one thing in your 40s and your 50s and maybe even into your 60s, but when you get into your 70s, your body just breaks down, man. You just can't, you just can't. And I saw them a couple times. It's one of those bands. Sometimes, how it is with some of those bands where you're like, yeah, I'll catch them, next time. Right. And then 30 years later, you're like, shit, man, I never saw them,
yeah. There's been a few that have been on my list that I've actually gone out of my way to see the last couple of years.
Yeah, we went to see the Doobie Brothers a couple of years ago. I took my mom and my sister, and they had Michael McDonald, so that was cool. I've been pretty lucky through the years to see a lot of people. I haven't seen Billy Joel, and I hate that I haven't, because I had a friend who in high school, back in like 1991 was just the biggest Billy Joel fan. And he was like, man, you need to go to this show with me. And it's like, I'll catch him next time. And here we are in 2024. And I'm like, I hadn't seen Billy Joel. And he came to a concert with Stevie Nicks actually last summer, and I completely forgot about it. Completely forgot about it. Yeah, it's and it's funny with artists like that. I mean, these is a legend act, right? It's one of these legend acts that you probably should see, even if you're not a huge fan. It's one of those concerts, and I tell people all the time, it's one of those concerts you can go to where you know every freaking song they do.
Yeah.
Right? Even though it may not be your favorite band, you still have a good time because you know all the songs that they do. Yes, Shane reading that Joey Ramone wouldn't have tubes in his throat when he was dying because he didn't want to wreck his voice. That's interesting. That's crazy. Well hung banana hammocks. What's really going on?
What's going on with that guy?
That's the story of my life. What's happening? Good to see you. Yes, I've seen Well Hung before. Wait a minute. That didn't come out right.
I'm like, I don't know this guy.
Oh my God. So I find weird stories like when I'm scrolling through the internet. I find interesting stories. I try to find, different ones. And and I wanted to I wanted to bring this one up to you because we talked a little bit about this one.
Throw me some wild ones. I'm in.
Yeah, well, I know, right? So let's see if I can. Oh God. And actually, usually what I'll do is I'll email them to myself.
Yeah.
And
I like handshakes in the dark. Let's just do it. I don't need no prep. Let's keep this real.
I know, right? So we talked a little bit about this last night. We kind of had some fun with this.
Last night, you mean this morning?
Oh yeah, I guess
like 4:30 this morning.
Jesus Christ! I can't do that one again. Okay.
Yeah, we need to make it a rule that if it's after like midnight, me and you can't call each other.
Yeah, right.
It's just like this is a bad idea.
So Oswalda Cobblepot.
Oh God, Mrs. Doubtfire, the penguin. Yeah, I actually watched. You said you were going to talk about this a little bit coming up. I didn't know if you're going to like talk about it on the show or we were going to talk about it. I watched 4 episodes of it today.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Let me get started.
What did you think? Now, Minnie Driver actually voices Oswalda.
Yes. To be honest, visually, I think they've got a really great animation for it. I think visually it really captures some of the old show we grew up with and really has that look to it. But that's not Batman, man. I do like the way they've done Bruce Wayne in it. I think the Bruce Wayne character is spot on. Continuing the charade, the way he's really come off as an asshole. I think they've really embraced that well as his disguise. But the rest of it, it's just not Batman.
Yeah, I think Catwoman they did a decent job with. I like the animation. Bruce Timm, who worked on Batman the animated series, has said that kind of like he's doing the things that he thinks that they should have done with Batman the animated series and like this alternate take on the Penguin and I mean
now I'm not gonna say that I don't find it interesting because there's a part of it that does come off as interesting,
right.
But it's just so foreign to me that it's not Batman, But I'm not gonna say that I absolutely hate it. I mean, I don't enjoy it really. I won't watch the rest of it. I watched 4 episodes. I won't watch the rest of it. But I see what they were doing. If you like it, watch it. I mean, please watch it if you enjoy it.
I think without Kevin Conroy, it's going to be hard for a lot of people.
It's hard to swallow. Yeah.
And the thing of it is, though, and what's difficult about that is that, somebody can't they can't do it forever, right? Like he can't do it forever. What are you laughing
I, I started cracking up because when I was watching it, I was just entertaining myself, and I go, "Pop's gonna die when I call the butler Mr. Belvedere." I was like, I was like, I was like, he
There's
totally.
so many body positivity people in this show. Like
It's okay to be fat in Gotham.
I guess like I'm surprised that Batman's not like struggling to put on the utility belt. You know, like they got a scene of him and he's trying to button his pants or he's trying to put the belt on. He's like, this son of a bitch. Yeah. It won't snap. It's like Pennyworth. I got to lose a few pounds.
Yeah. When I saw Pennyworth, I just immediately was like, "Oh, Pop's gonna love it when I start cracking Mr. Belvedere jokes."
God, that's great, man. I mean, yeah, it's just and Montoya and Barbara, and then and then our Asian body positivity Harley.
Yeah.
Harleen Quinzel. Like I think sometimes it's like, okay, fine. If this is your take, if this is what you want to do, it's just, I think, for people who really love the animated stuff, and I'm not gonna lie to you, man.
Yeah.
I think I've seen all of the Warner animated Batman, Superman, Justice League. Like I've watched all those things, all those series.
I haven't seen all the Justice League, but I've seen the Batman and Superman for sure.
Stuff's good, man. There's one they did. It was a Suicide Squad, Assault on Arkham or something, and that
was badass. Yeah, I did see that.
Fantastic, dude. And it's funny because that came out before that first Suicide Squad movie, and when that Suicide Squad movie came out, I was like, this is almost like some of it is like beat for beat from that animated show, like that animated movie. Some of it literally was beat for beat. I was like, use this as inspiration. But yeah, I mean, for people that are definitely fans of the Batman the Animated Series, which is one of the best animated series of all time.
Yeah.
It is difficult to hear someone else play Bruce Wayne.
It is, yeah.
That's probably for most people the hard part about it. I mean, and obviously some of the other changes that, because look, man, here's the thing. Sometimes there are characters that are iconic, even if they're secondary characters, even if they are not the person in the forefront. There's several characters who are so iconic and so well known for their look, or their voice, or their cadence, or the way they act, that when you change those things, it can be a real put off for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, no, I'm one of them. Yeah.
And that's kind of the way it is for me. Now, again, I understand people are going to change some things and they're going to do things that whatever, especially nowadays, it's kind of like anything goes. But again, as I mentioned last night on that Punk's Pit, that this was shopped, and this is a Warner IP, and they turned it down. They didn't even want to show it on Max. This is on Amazon, and so that tells me a lot about how they probably felt about this show, and what they think maybe what it's going to do numbers wise. Now, being animated, I don't think they're expecting any large return on an investment, but it's been finished for a year.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They did this a couple of years back.
Yeah, it's been done for a while, and so they've been shopping it, and Amazon pulled the trigger and said, "Okay, we'll put it on." And but so we'll see, man.
What does that say about, I guess, them in general, that they had to shop it around?
That's what I mean.
Yeah, what does that say about those guys?
Right. So because, I mean, let's not kid ourselves, Warner.
You got to find somebody to buy this bullshit.
This is your biggest IP.
Yeah.
I mean,
and in the comic books, I'm still an avid reader of a few things, and the Batman detective in DC is some of the best written material you'll get, and the rest of it's just junk.
Yeah, I know definitely a lot of the stuff in the last several years. The New 52 stuff, I'm not really.
No,
a big fan of. I
Yeah.
have a lot of the Batman graphic novels, ones that have been put out, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not as big a fan of the new 52 stuff. And when DC really tried to kind of just reset everything,
Yeah.
you know, and I mean, well, the comic industry itself is in a tailspin right now as it is.
Yeah, they price kids out. It's all adult readers now.
Yeah,
We can
yeah,
go
for
and
sure.
pay $6 a book. When we were kids, they're like $1.25. You know.
Yeah, yeah. And I agree. Same time, Mask of the Phantasm. Now you know that
Yeah.
was actually a huge disappointment for them. At the time. Now it's looked back on now as being, really cool and people, remember it fondly. But at the time, it was released in theaters and it was an absolute bomb. It did
Yeah.
not do well at the
So
time.
which is funny, when Mondo put out their 12-inch figures and they put out that Phantasm figure, I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, gotta have it. I was like,
Yeah.
just gotta have that.
Dude, I mean, look, I'm not gonna lie. I love some Batman. I do, and I usually will watch about anything.
Yeah.
That comes out, and I'll go on Max and I'll from time to time and look up any new animation, maybe a new
Yeah,
movie
same.
they've got, right? A new 60-minute or 70-minute thing they've got just to check it out. But I definitely recommend the Justice League stuff from
Yeah, I'll
several
check
years
that
ago. It's actually really good. One of those might have been Unlimited, but one of those series, it deals with some pretty heavy duty stuff, man. Like it's
Mhm.
not just a kiddie thing. It works for adults and kids both, but like, yeah, they're one of those series. It's and especially a particular Batman episode that's really pretty heavy. And if I can look it up on the fly, I'd tell you. But anyway, but yeah, check that out. You probably like a lot of those, man.
And
They do a real good job with it.
the whole reason we haven't gotten a Batman Beyond movie is insane to me.
Yeah, it's like they've just forgotten about that at
Yeah.
all. They just said to hell with it. So another one real quick I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, what you
So are you're not big on gaming. You're not a big gamer, right?
I mean, I've got every system there is. I just don't have time to mess with it. Right. I started playing what did I start playing the other day? I don't remember now. I like the indie games a lot too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll play a lot of the indie games open through. I was playing fucking what is the name of that damn game? The Metroid game, Shadow Complex.
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
playing Shadow
yeah.
Complex because I
That's a cool game.
upgraded it, and I was like, yeah, I remember I was playing that one day, and I was like rolling through it. I was like, this is Metal Gear, or not Metal Gear. This is a
like Metroid.
Metroid. Yeah, I was like, I'm playing Metroid.
Yeah.
I was like, this is awesome.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. That is a cool game. So do you remember Game Informer?
Yeah. I used to get it all the time.
Well, they've been shut down. So years ago, Game Informer got bought by GameStop.
Yeah.
And they kind of went on this thing where if you went into GameStop and you got their pro membership, then you could get the free free subscription.
Yeah, I think I was getting the downloadable one, but I never read it.
Yeah, and I got the print one for a little while. This is probably about 4 or 5 years ago. But shit. I mean, look, going all the way back to 91, and I remember going like I'd go to shop at Kroger or I'd go in somewhere and I'd go by the magazine aisle, right? And you'd grab your Game Pro or you'd grab your Nintendo Power, whatever magazine, and Game Informer. So about probably 2017-ish, I started really watching their podcasts on YouTube. They'd have a Game Informer show on YouTube, and they do a lot of Let's Plays and stuff like that. And they were actually really, really good. And so I had at that time I was working at barbecue joint in East Nashville, and they had been acquired by GameStop by then. But the guy who founded the magazine came to town, and he brought 2 of his editors with him. And I watched these guys like every week, would watch them on YouTube.
Yeah.
And so when I found out they were coming to town, I asked them if they'd come by and visit. I'd, pay for their food. I just want to
Mhm.
talk to them, meet them and stuff. And so they came by the restaurant. I got a picture with them and everything. And they're
Nice.
really, really nice guys, really cool, fun to talk to, talking games and stuff. And right after that, Andy McNamara, who is the guy who founded the magazine, he basically got out. Like a year later, he got out. And actually about a month after I saw those guys, they went through a bunch of layoffs. And I remember asking them at the time, I was like, why do you guys not have a bigger video, like YouTube presence? Like, you're only print media. And I'm like, I know that's got to be tough. It's like, y'all have great content, but y'all don't do a lot of it. It's like, why? And they said, well, we're kind of working on that. And literally like a month later, all these people got laid off.
Yeah, it would make more sense, like, if they go out and they do the interviews just to turn it into a YouTube show.
Yes. And what they did do was fantastic. And it says, look, in 2011, their circulation was about 8 million. It was the third largest magazine in the nation in 2011. But we all know what's happened to print media since then, right?
Yeah. Well, see, that's part of why I quit traveling around and doing the photography all the time, is a lot of the magazines just went digital.
Right. So and they did go digital, and you could get the digital download and all that kind of stuff. But they were really well known for a lot of their covers. They would do a lot of really cool covers, especially some of them are kind of collectors covers and stuff like that. And it's just another blow to me of kind of like, I miss the days of opening up a magazine and flipping through it, and like sitting down and you feel the pages in your hands, right? You search for a story and all that stuff.
That's why I got comic books in the bathroom. I call it the library.
Hey, I know. I'm with you, man. No, for real. Like, yeah, it's like there's something to be said. It's and the same goes for, reading a newspaper, and folding it up, right? Folding it in one side and flipping it over and, reading the article and then flipping it over to finish it or whatever. And there's something to be said for that. And I think when you're reading stuff online, it's like, I just don't think people soak it in the same way. I don't think it's not as intimate. If that makes sense?
Yeah.
Like reading a book even. Reading a comic online compared to reading the comic in your hand.
Oh, yeah. And there's, and now, even as much as you'd like to read it in your hand, like I really cut myself back this last year. I used to read like 75 titles a month, and now I read 10. Like the writing just got so bad, I had to like cancel it out. And and it's just kind of funny. But even now, there's like the subscription services where you can read them online and stream them to your TV. So you can literally just sit there on the TV and just stream them.
Yeah,
like that. But it's not the same.
Yeah, no, it's not. And again, it's like, as it's so funny, as easily even when I was saying earlier about information at your fingertips and how information is so more easily gotten.
Yeah, it cracks me up that literally the entire world's fucking history is at your fingertips, but somehow people are stupid.
Are stupider than ever. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to me, like that you literally have every piece of information you've ever wanted to know.
Yeah, and still people will speak unintelligently. It's like, if you don't know, look it up, do a little research for you.
Yeah, it used to be an encyclopedia. I had an encyclopedia set back in the day, man. I used to sit there and just go right through it. But yeah, so what happened is GameStop bought them. Well, we know what's happened to GameStop. In the last several years, it's been cuts after cuts after cuts. People aren't buying physical media. They're not buying physical video games. The used game market is not even what it used to be at this point, where you can trade your stuff in. And now everything's just digital download. And so Game Informer, about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, they tried to do this thing where they offered this really expensive, like special type of magazine. If you wanted to buy into it, you could get it. It was like a more expensive paper, and it had all this stuff. And they were like, and it was kind of like a Hail Mary, I think, at trying to generate revenue.
That's why like newsletters make so much revenue. If you're like an ex-writer for some of these companies, and you have a huge following of people that follow your articles, and then you start sending out newsletters and stuff, man, it's mad money.
Yeah, there's just a few left. Like PC Gamer is one of those ones that's I think in the United States that still prints, although I don't even know how they're. And then was it Edge and Famitsu? Those are like in United Kingdom and Japan. But yeah, print media. I mean, I hate to see it because it's one of those long time things. It's been around since I was a kid. But it is kind of print media going the way of the dinosaur, and for some of these things, I'm glad they're going that way.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because I mean, I can think about how many magazines I throw away, or how many of those games I didn't even read. So I get it.
And even from a media aspect, some of these newspaper rags that are either so slanted that you can't even get through an article anymore, whether it's Washington Post, New York Times, whatever it is. It's like, get rid of that shit. Okay. Some of them I'm glad to see go. I hate seeing Game Informer go because I did enjoy their content. And there was a time, man, I'm not kidding, dude, for probably about a good 4-year period, they had a crew in there from like 2020. Probably they were there from like 2011 to like 2020 maybe, and they were really, really good and made some really good podcasts for especially, man. Let's see here. What else I got? Not a whole lot else. I was wanting to do a video on the Warhammer 40K
not a lot of information about all of it.
Well, and I'm going to tell you, this is what I found, and I'll kind of throw it up here.
We can talk about him.
Yeah,
dude, he's amazing.
He's amazing.
So good.
Yeah, the doctor, the good doctor,
the doc.
Yeah, man. So there's an issue right now with Games Workshop, who owns the Warhammer IP.
Yeah.
And Amazon. All right. And so Henry Cavill, who a lot of people love Henry Cavill, whether it's his Superman or initially in The Witcher, although they turned that show to shit. But they had agreed in December of 2023, Games Workshop made a deal with Amazon, and they said, okay, we're going to give you 12 months to we're going to agree on some creative guidelines for the films or television series to be developed. Okay. And those creative guidelines had to be mutually agreed. Now, I don't follow as much of the Warhammer stuff as a lot of people do, but I understand that recently or not long ago they introduced female custodies into the franchise.
Yeah,
and there had never been female custodies. This was not in any of the picture books, any of the lore, anything at all. And so that's something that got a lot of people like riled up, was because, oh, here we go, right? Like we're they're coming in with this woke shit. They're changing bullshit. They're adding women where there were no women. And supposedly that was something that got Henry Cavill pretty pissed off about the whole thing, because he is someone who, like with the Witcher series, he fought to be very lore accurate.
Yeah, he's a purist.
And they really came in and really did a number on the lore. The showrunner really just screwed up the show. He had to fight to have one dramatic scene with his horse, which sounds kind of weird, but like, they even put out statements about Cavill saying he was difficult to work with and his on-set behavior was not good and all this shit, because they tried to smear him, and it's because he wanted the show to be lore accurate. Well, so evidently, coming up on the end of this year, time is kind of running out for this show. So for people that are wanting this Warhammer show to come to be, basically they can't come up on creative guidelines. And when you think Games Workshop might be the ones to actually, since they introduced the female custodies, well, actually it seems like it's Amazon that is the one that's actually being the hard head, and they're probably trying to introduce female space marines, and they want female space marines to be part of the show. And Games Workshop is the one that's probably pushing back on it, which is kind of weird. Which you would think would be the other way around, considering that they changed their lore recently.
Yeah.
But and so for people that are wanting this show to happen, and for somebody like Henry Cavill, who's probably been sitting around waiting to get started, they have not filmed anything, they have not written anything, and they have not done anything.
Yeah, he's going to move on to a paying project and keep rolling.
And December is going to come and go, and this probably isn't going to happen. And it's mainly that they just can't work out the creative.
What happens when you drag feet?
Yeah, and Amazon has been very, very guilty with a lot of their shows and their series.
Their production shit is
and they've also been guilty of inserting a lot of agenda into some of their stuff too. Yes, the Bobby Wold, Cavill in a movie called Ungentlemanly Warfare. Yep.
Yeah, Guy Ritchie just doesn't disappoint for me. I wasn't too happy about the Robin Hood and the King Arthur ones. I didn't think were the best things that he ever did, but pretty much everything else is golden with me.
Yeah, man. No, I'm with you. And I've heard a lot about that. I've heard a lot about that movie, and I need to see it. There's a lot of people that I watched that definitely.
Oh, it's excellent. Yeah.
I follow that have talked about it, and they're definitely all about it.
Did you watch the Netflix series, The Gentleman?
No. I haven't. I know. I need to watch that one too. I've got a bunch on my plate. That one definitely I need to. I've been working my way through Cobra Kai to talk about on Tuesday with Matthew. And so all right, I got one more story to bring up.
Let's do it.
And then I'll probably call it a night. I got to get up early tomorrow. I got some stuff I got to get done. All right. So, everybody's favorite former NFL quarterback, Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah. Did you get that meme I sent you?
I did. So this is former NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick.
This guy, I love him.
Launching new AI comic book generator, Lumi, says goal is to democratize storytelling. Now, I love, first of all, I don't even, it's
a choose your own adventure.
Right. Right. Forget a writer, forget an idea, forget a writer, forget So I love this first sentence, by the way, because this is Bounding in the Comics, who writes some pretty funny articles. In further adding to his reputation as a completely insufferable individual.
Yeah.
Former NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick is getting into the business of producing AI-generated comic books. I can't even look at the guy.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
So this is supposed to be a groundbreaking platform that empowers creators by providing them with the tools needed to independently create, publish, and merchandise their stories, both digitally and physically. Now, this is so the idea. This is supposed to be transforming any creator into Disney. So basically, this is his new venture, is leveraging AI tools and allowing people to bring whatever story they want. The platform handles all.
You probably know Vistaprint for business cards. Yep. But did you know we also print these?
The pop-ups on pop.
You know what I mean? Like, good God.
Oh, it's horrible.
So this is an AI business, basically. And look, people can self-publish their own books, right? now.
And those.
Oh my
And that.
Christ. Are you
And definitely.
serious? Oh my God. I don't know. I don't know the end game for this.
Yeah,
I get, my end game for this is what I'm curious about, only because of everything that we know about Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
And, is this because anytime you use the word equitable,
yeah,
anytime the word equitable comes into play is when I start having questions, because equity is in the person who doles it out.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and also when it comes to AI, I think we're going to get there's going to be a lot of regulation on AI, and it's going to come in a tidal wave. We've seen Congress already trying to address this to an extent. I was talking earlier about Wraith Mace making a song with AI, strictly AI.
Yeah. So
and like I love it, but when it comes to art,
yeah,
it gets into a really weird.
It does,
place.
especially when it steals from other artists or it pulls as a collaborative from all these artists. The thing with AI for me and just in general is like so many other things that have been disrupted by technology, like this right here. Once they started putting cameras in this,
yeah,
then they started updating the cameras to where they're almost a professional level camera, what you would have had a few years ago. And then also adding in digital software, everything, filters, everything that you can do with it. It literally, when everybody has a camera in their hand, it devalued photography.
Yes.
And not only did it devalue photography, it took the barrier of entry to zero. Everybody can be a photographer now. Now, is that true with one of these? No, it's not. There's a huge difference between packing one of these around and a professional rig. And it really eliminated their ability with just digital photography, took away the ability for actual photographers to take incredible pictures. Because, back in the day, we had film and everything was the ISO was, by the different film you had in and your shutter speeds. You actually had to know know how to make that machine work in order to get good exposure and proper photos. Like when you see those pictures like Muhammad Ali that's knocked somebody out, that picture's famous for more reasons than it was just a picture caught in time. Right. That guy only had so many shots on that camera with that film and the flashing and the lighting and everything. That guy is a master at his craft and lucky at the same time to get that shot. And that's why the copyrights on that stuff are so expensive. But nowadays it's full video, pull it out, take it out, put it into whatever you want. There's no effort. There's no intelligence. The camera and the software do it all for you. So then it becomes a matter of who's the most creative.
Okay.
Who has the most vision? Who can, and those are things that can't be taken from you.
Right.
So like, it's the same thing with AI. When you look at it like this stuff now, it's lowering the barrier of entry for music. It's lowering the barrier of entry for art and anything else you can apply it to. It's and just like we said earlier, when you've got all of the world's information in one place and somehow you're still more stupid,
right?
It's the same thing.
Well, and that's, like I was talking earlier about, I do have like an AI art thing on my phone, and I've messed around, created some thumbnails. I created an evil Mickey Mouse with a lightsaber picture. It was pretty funny. It's goofy. It's just, typing in keywords, coming up with some kind of, something just literally within seconds. Right. But I think this is basically saying, okay, this is just a business. It's, you come up with whatever work through our AI tools, and then we're going to be able to, for a fee, provide, advertising. We're going to provide a way to get it funded or whatever. We're going to get it out there. We're going to publish it for you. I can't imagine them doing any kind of in the hands publishing. This would all have to be online, in my opinion. But one thing that I think is interesting as well, is that this is a direct statement. It says creators today face significant challenges like exploitation and lack of independence. Well, like we've been talking about, though, you've never been more independent. You can do crowdfunding, you can do GoFundMe's, you can do crowdsourcing. There's so many different ways now.
Opened up so many different ways. You're
right.
You
can fund your own book, and if it's creative and interesting enough, right, through your ideas and your artwork, your storytelling.
Yeah.
But if this is just a gateway for anybody to type in some keywords and create a comic book, I get it. But at the same time, I think this is ultimately.
And where's the satisfaction in that?
That's what I mean. Like,
as a creator,
right? If because it's, and also again another sentence I find is that, additionally, as AI continues to evolve, whatever that means, it is essential to ensure that the resulting content reflects diverse and authentic perspectives. So that right there tells you everything that this is supposed to be about. This is not about open and for everyone.
No,
this is not open for all. This is again Colin Kaepernick using the equity and the race banner to fly this flag. This is not open for everyone. This is for underserved peoples and all those buzzwords.
Yeah. And you would think that he already learned by going down this road once that it didn't turn out well for him.
And also, too, here's the other thing. He made a book, a children's book. I Color Myself Different. Okay, great. Now, in that book, evidently, he talks shit about his white parents and how he wasn't afforded the same opportunities, even though somehow he's a rich motherfucker who went to every training camp and 7-on-7 camp and somehow was get the fuck out of here. But it says, his children's book is an autobiographical graphic novel, Change the Game, which apparently included high production costs, long production timelines, and gatekeeping within the industry. Well, that barrier has been broken now because of crowdfunding.
Yeah, crowdfunding.
It's completely broken now. Those things. So in other words, you want to take somebody who's dumb as a fucking box of rocks that can't figure out how to market any of their own shit or create their own comic. You want them to use AI to do it. You want to take a portion of the proceeds, but you want to tell it that you're helping underserved or underprivileged people get their stories out there. You can read right through.
Yeah. We're going to make everything available to you, make it seem like it's something built for you, but ultimately I'm going to bank off of it. It's just grab words to get people involved in this project. It's just bullshit.
I mean, how does somebody's shadow change that much?
Dude.
How can your shadow grow up?
It's just exposing who he really is. I don't know.
That's amazing.
But
it says they've raised $4 million in venture capital. I'm sure they have. I'm sure they've gotten plenty of it from a bunch of people with white guilt. But and
it's showing like all the people that have jumped in, Chameleon. These tech giants. This is all a tax write-off for those guys.
100%. and the buzzwords, I love it. The timing for this venture is perfect. It's
how would that make you feel? Man, we got to find a tax write-off, throw some money at. What's Kaepernick's doing? What's that clown up to? I'm sure he's got some hokey bullshit we can throw some money at.
And what I love too is they're showing covers like this cover here, and they keep using the same guy. It says Francesco Mateen's pulled cover to Action Comics. I don't even know what the fuck that means. It says generated by AI. So they show that cover. They show this cover of Batman generated by AI. Okay, great. It took somebody what, like, 5 minutes to put
To
some
render it.
keywords in.
Dude, I've got a whole folder full of AI stuff I did just when I was
Right.
figuring out how it all worked. It's insane.
Now something that I liked is, like, I was talking to Wraith Mace about his song, and he's like, dude, it took me like 35 hours. And I think, creating something musically and putting in those kind of hours into something.
And I'm sure with having a musical background, putting in the prompts to design whatever it is you need, you're going to need that musical background even to create that.
Right. I just worry with something like even comic book art. Again, same guy, same dude, Francesco Mattine's pulled cover. I don't even know what does that even mean? Do you know what that even means? Pulled cover?
Let me see.
To Superman Volume 6, number 18. DC.
I'm trying to see where it says. Where's the article?
It's under the caption. It says Francesco Mattine's pulled cover to Superman Volume 6, number 18, widely believed to have been generated by AI. I don't know what pulled cover means in the comic industry.
The cover that was pulled. Probably because it was AI. They said no, they couldn't use it, so they pulled it.
So then why are they using his pictures of these AI images
to show how great they are?
You know what I mean?
Used probably.
It's like, okay. I mean, but yeah, no. If you read through this article, you start to see the buzz phrases and the buzzwords, and you realize this is not an ecosystem for everyone. This is an ecosystem for some people.
Yeah.
But it is definitely not an ecosystem for everyone.
Yeah, he's just trying to do something. I mean, everybody's on that hustle, man.
Yeah, this is definitely his new hustle. I mean, at this point, and people say, I said it for years, he was far better off and making far more money as an activist than as a football player.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There was no reason to put him on.
Look at Russell Brand.
Right.
I mean, he's an actor, he makes a lot of money doing an actor, but his podcasts and his YouTube and all, dude,
huge.
Joe Rogan. I mean, there's money in the masses, man.
Yep. And Russell Brand, obviously, even right now, probably still dealing with some of these Me Too stuff that came out a while back. They pulled him off of YouTube, they pulled him off of other platforms. I think he's back on now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but you're right. No, you're right. There's a lot of money in that, but yeah,
everybody's got a podcast now, man. It's nuts.
It's true. But also if you are a creative, never before the way it is now that you can actually get something and self-publish and get your books to your fans. So that's why I look at this story and I go, okay, this is for some people, but this is not for everybody. No. Right? It has and with Colin Kaepernick behind it, definitely I don't trust that shit.
That guy just next year he'll fail at this, and the next year or so he'll have something.
Yeah, he'll have another hustle. All right, dude. Look, it's what is it? 11:22. Yeah, I got a few things to get done tomorrow for sure. And I wanted to go on for a little bit, have you come on for a little while.
Yeah.
And we'll see maybe next Friday, if you got anything going on.
I might be in Nashville next Friday.
Oh, that's right. Okay, sweet. All right, man. Well, let me know for sure. Right. I'll be touching base with you and everything. And then the usual housekeeping, for everybody that tuned in or drops by or watches this, throw a like if you want. I'm not going to sit here and just, it's like, if you like it, you like it. It's cool. I appreciate everybody hanging out, and chatting for a little bit on a Friday. Have some more stuff coming out. War Chest, do you have anything where anybody can find you? Or are you doing anything like on Instagram or anything like that? Where
I'm a War Chest full of toys on Instagram. Okay. I don't post a lot. I need to start my YouTube channel up. I've got videos on there, but I don't get too wild with it.
Yeah.
I've been waiting. I actually kind of told myself I was going to wait until Monster Force came out before I was really going to just start up all my stuff, because I've got all my intros, outro. I mean, I've got everything geared up, all my editing stuff. I just, You know, got a lot of stuff going on.
Trust me,
running multiple businesses will get you sometimes.
Right. And even just for me, just working like full time and then, having other shit to do. And like
tonight I'm going through my equipment. Or today I was going through my equipment locker, getting rid of all my photography equipment from like years ago.
Yeah,
I'm just like giving it away to people, just going through, throwing stuff in boxes, mailing it out, trying to get I'm literally like right now it's kind of like my spring cleaning. I've just been going through the house, donating clothes, getting rid of all kinds of stuff.
Nice.
But
yeah, it actually is good to do that every now and then.
Yeah, it is.
If you hadn't laid eyes on it in a couple of years, if you hadn't messed with it in 2, 3, 4 years, you probably didn't get rid of it, right?
No reason to have it.
Well, cool, man. Well, I appreciate you hanging out. I'll be doing the Tuesday night thing with Matthew, 10 Eastern, coming up in a few days. We'll go over some stuff. I'll get that out for anybody that's interested. But it's always good to talk to you, brother. And I know I'll talk to you soon. I appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah.
And I'm going to hit this little thing and roll us out of here, buddy. See you later, brother.